coming and let the conversation. So as to set a
So,
context, you may start, please.
yeah, so thanks, Prince. Actually, you and I discussed on the side that this is one topic which is being discussed in investment circles a lot. I mean, both investors as well as startup founders, as well as non-equity investors like non-equity markets, listed market investors like VC funds, etc., are also discussing. So this is actually quite a hot topic in different circles. Is whether fintech world where VC and PE funding has relatively dried up, is listed markets in India and especially a market like SME a viable options. So what are the pros and cons, etc. And naturally, all of us will have different perspective depending on our experiences, but it is always good to hear from someone who is probably closer to the action. And for that reason, I today invited my very good friend, easily the one of the smartest person I've met in my life so far, Deepak. He was my batchmate in MBA days. And so, just to give a background of Deepak Gugnani, who very kindly agreed to come on this session, he's typically not very active on Twitter, solely not on Spaces, otherwise fairly vocal about things in other forums. So he post his MBA in 2005. He basically worked with Citi in corporate banking in senior profile, and where he had the luxury or opportunity to interact with literally big level CFOs, company management of tier one corporates, not even tier two, tier three, both in Delhi circle as well as in Maharashtra circle. And somewhere around 2017, and Deepak, please correct me on dates if wrong later, he started a startup called Expedize along with his colleague, Mr. Reagan. And since we were friend circle, we were obviously closely monitoring him, understanding how what is his journey, etc. So it was quite a bit of learning for people who were in my circle. And then COVID happened, right? And for any fintech startup which relies on physical meeting, business travels to interact with managements on the bank side, etc., it was probably a setback. But in spite of all those challenges, his company, where he was a co-founder, got funded by one of the very popular in VC fund name. And Deepak, I'm on purpose not taking name. I'll leave it for your comfort
Mm,
whether you want to disclose or not. And
sure.
then as well as institutional funding also, before it got acquired by ClearTax, which incidentally just other day Deepak reminded me on Twitter that he was first funding by Y Combinator in India. So that's his background, because of which, and see, obviously that company got acquired by ClearTax, and then Deepak and Regan, I mean, both co-founders worked with ClearTax. Only recently they have taken a, I'll say, sabbatical or leave off, etc. So typically the kind of a start, founders who build something, transfer, etc., and then look for the serial entrepreneurship. That's how I see, and obviously he's more than welcome to correct if any shade of introduction is wrong. But before that, I'm also happy to have Mr. Naveen on the speaker. He obviously has a lot of corporate experience, and even on the listener side, if anyone has specific experience on startups as well as funding experience, etc., please just type in the text, etc., and come up as a speaker so that you can add value to this thing. So Deepak, over to you, but I'll probably set up some context also so that broad contours are clear. I just tweeted also, I mean, essentially as a forum, just to probably make it useful for everyone, is we would like to understand what was your journey, and you may make it impersonal also. It need not to be your journey or generic. I mean, how do startups typically even go for funding? Is it always relatives angel, or is there even an option for a seasoned corporate executive to get some kind of a VC funding at some stage, and what kind of challenges or hit ratios are there? So over to you, Deepak, for initial, and towards the end, obviously, we'll go to the main topic, which is the subject of the session.
Thank you, Sandeep bhai. Thank you for the kind introduction. I think the way and the simplicity with which you put up introductions, I think, of course, even I can't write to say it in a better manner. So you didn't miss anything. But thank you very much for your kind words. And thank you, Prince bhai, for organizing these meetups spaces. I think it's fantastic to know that I've heard one or two of these as well. And I've always found them to be very useful. So thank you. So just to, going with the point, and of course, welcome to all our listeners as well and speakers, uh, all my fellow speakers. See, as Sandeep mentioned, or as I see the topic, which is the Indian fintech is listing at early stage viable option. I think this is a very, very case specific question, but let me open up the discussion by sharing, as Sandeep said, that, by sharing our journey in a short manner, and also what we are seeing around us, or, what is, say, in a way, what is the founder's view. I'll be talking more of that versus, say, an investor view, and it'll be glad to hear your views as well. Everyone, please feel free to share your comments or share your thoughts on the topic. Will be useful. So from a journey perspective, as a banker, corporate banker for 12 years, seeing tech development all around us, seeing the India shining story, and then all how the Indian corporates have been doing great, how the tough times, the entire NPA story also unfolded in front of us, and then the entire uh, the balance sheet cleansing also, we saw that as well. So saw the ups and downs, both cycles. And I think, as they say, once you see both up and down cycle in the market, that's when you get the real learnings. Just seeing one cycle is not enough for the learnings. That's what our seniors always used to tell us, and we truly felt it, when there was a difficult time where there were a lot of NPAs between 2012 to 14, and it was a tough period. So I was glad I could play a part in some of those tough situations as well. And I think my journey as a banker actually got more redeemed, or I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed lending money, or for the growth for companies. Because as a banker, you have to appreciate both sides of risk, and a lot of learning happens in the tough period as well. I think most of the fellow experienced people will also agree. So coming quickly to our fintech journey, for us, uh, fintech was, I'll say it was more of, initially it was more of 60% fin and 40% tech, because we were working more on the supply chain finance platform kind of thing, which was from our domain. So domain knowledge was acquired over the years, so we could understand, but the tech element was missing. So we had to spend some time understanding, absorbing the tech part around us. It wasn't easy. So if anybody of you is thinking, I think if you're thinking of getting into tech, get your hands dirty on tech. It always helps, and it's something which is very, very crucial. Uh, we were like roughly like in the early stages. We were like with our first 5 6 clients when the COVID hit us in March 2020. And I clearly remember that our runway, in startup world, we call runway as the amount of money which is left in the bank account, which will take care of your expenses if no revenues were to come in. Basically, your monthly expenses multiplied by number of months, or in number of months, whatever total money divided by your monthly expense. So I clearly remember हम लोग थोड़ा उस time backfooting पे थे. I think that was sort of a learning or sort of mistake as well, that we didn't plan. We thought we'll not dilute much. We didn't raise a lot of money in the angel round, and we had hardly 6 to 9 months of runway when the COVID thing happened, and suddenly all the supply chains were frozen. Thankfully, we had a couple of clients on the healthcare domain. We got really engaged with them. Their volumes were actually 2x, 3x, and it kept us going. And we as a team decided, some people took salary cuts. Some people, we of course stopped new hiring, but we didn't fire anybody. We had a very candid discussion with our team. That was a very learning
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
period. I think entire team got together. As I say, tough times, help you bond together better as well. And I think within 6 months, things were looking better for the tech firms, because the tech adoption rate just started increasing by the time we hit September, October 2020. And then by December 2020, we had raised funding from two very reputed fund houses, one of the largest financial powerhouse in the country, as well as one VC fund. And that gave us the momentum to keep growing. And then we started growing again, and we started hiring, and it was close to 1.5 years of that growth period before we came across this opportunity to merge our business with Clear. And that happened, and I think as Sandeep mentioned, so it was a short and sweet journey, very learning, very experience, coming from the corporate to the startup journey, it wasn't easy. If I say so, it had its own challenges, but it was enjoying. I think we enjoyed the journey. It was full of learnings. Uh, Now coming to the main point around the listing piece, it's so heartening to see that how listing criteria have changed, or how the SME market specifically has evolved over the last, say, 5-6 years. I clearly remember NSE Emerge used to exist then also, but there were hardly any listings. I remember in our space, first one which I saw was around E2E, and some of the other tech companies. But E2E was like more spoken about in the other VC circles as well. And but there wasn't much. I think it wasn't like a very active option in terms of either raising money or providing exit to their investors. So उस टाइम पे हम लोगों ने institutional round किया. Then of course ours was a relatively short-lived journey, 4 to 5 years. But had listing option been there, I'm sure we would have given it a serious thought as well, because it is heartening to see how retail is supporting the tech, or participating in the tech boom that our country, or even for that matter entire world is seeing. I think it is great to see that. So that's kind of more about our story and the modern pieces. Sandeep, Prince, please tell me if you want to specifically, you would like me to talk about, say, what kind of VC profiles exist, or how people go about raising VC money, or there are any specific pointers. Happy to share my thoughts on those as well.
So Deepak, I mean, we discussed sometimes, but again, probably just more on the forum. I mean, you talked about different style of VC funds. You would recall. I mean, naturally, I've invested in one of the funds after I understood their success story with you. So, basis that experience, I put in money there in the third series, basically. But in doing so, I also realized back in 2021, every investor was very active in the startup VC space, and I realized that there are different style of VC. Some only come at Series A, Series B, Series C, and since it will be, you're talking about in general, so please feel free to take names. So, for example, like Sequoia, Surge, right? That was very interesting to see a fund like Sequoia. I would have not even imagined them doing such a small rounds. So that's a very different profile from, let's say, uh, a very standard kind of a VC. So VC is also coming down the chain, very early stage. So what are those different early stages? Maybe if you can just elaborate what we call Series A versus B versus C. What are the pros and cons? How people evaluate, etc.
Sure. So VC, I think VC industry has also evolved very well in India. I remember, I think there are more than 1,500 VCs right now in India, and then the more active ones will be maybe 300, 400 odd. They have Venture Capital Association also, which usually publishes some reports and keeps on representing them with the government and the other bodies as well. So with those 300, 350 odd VCs, interesting part is, as you rightly said, there are VCs which are specialized on both sector side as well as stage focus. So what I mean to say is, there are VCs who will invest in specific sectors, say consumer sectors. Like there is a fund called Sixth Sense. I think some of you are aware, because I think one of their founder, Nikhil, has been an investor in the SME circle as well. He mostly invests on the consumer side of the business. He is, I think, invested in Bombay Shaving, if I'm not mistaken, or one or two, maybe Beardo, or something of this sort, and some other consumer names as well. There are funds which invest only in deep tech, which are things like IoTs and AI and other stuff. So these are very sector specific funds. Then there are funds which are stage focused funds. By stage focused funds, I mean, the companies which will invest even on a pre-revenue stage. As Sandeep, you clearly mentioned about Sequoia, which is now called Peak 15. They have a program called as Surge. I think they've had 5-6 batches so far of that program, where they invest in ideas also. I mean, it's a pre-revenue stage. Then there are companies who invest at seed stage, where revenues are about to start. At least the prototype is ready. Uh, those kind of funds are typically, these funds are called nowadays as micro VCs. I think there are more than 100 odd micro VCs. You will see some of them commonly being talked about in media or on Twitter X as well. Names like 100X VC, R Ventures, and all. A lot of these guys actually handhold companies right from the start, right from the seed stage. So this is more like a more formalized funding source available. Of course, over and above that, angel round, which is for, say, a family and friends round, is always available. A lot of founders follow family and friends round because that is their first port of call. they don't want to spend too much time or don't want to open up their business to say a lot of other investors or maybe sometimes due to they being in the stealth mode or other reasons. So from a VC universe perspective, one is that sector focused thing, and the other is the stage focused thing, where you start with micro VCs which invest at pre-seed or seed stage. Then there are funds which specifically invest in say pre-series A kind of a round, which is pre-series A happens typically when your product is out, you started having your first revenue uh, client, you are just starting. Basically the technical risk, as they say, of the product is out. There is no risk. I mean, the product is out in the market. Now you're looking at scaling it up. So you raise a pre-series A kind of a round. Pre-series A is also relatively new terminology. Previously, it used to be more like a Series A, and these are typically funding checks between say $1 million to $10 million, which are written by the funds which are say typically operating a funds of 100 to $500 million kind of funds. Then there are of course more advanced, larger funds in the country which come in series B, C, D. I think we've all heard names of investors like SoftBank, Tiger Global, even Sequoia for that matter. Excel. There are a lot of these funds which will write say tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of checks as well, and that sector has really done well. I think just to put numbers in perspective, I think while last year was not a very great year in terms of raise of fundraising, but still startups raised somewhere close to I think $9 billion or in 2023. In first quarter of 2024 also, startups have raised close to $2.4 billion. The flow has actually reduced because if I talk about 2022, I think startups raised somewhere close to $23-24 billion. That's a decent amount of money. I mean, if we talk about from an IPO perspective and we started comparing the two, the markets have been deeper, the checks have been much bigger. But then this is not just SME. I think this is basically all scale. I mean, some of these companies like Ola Electric, the household names. These are the names which we get to hear every now and then. So even like Wakefit, a furniture brand company, all these get classified as startups, but eventually they're like any other medium scale company. I think their revenues are in thousands of crores right now. So these are not SMEs, but these are enterprises which are working or leveraging tech and have raised a decent amount of funding and are now looking at getting their P&L appropriately, in line so that they can be ready for the public markets. So that's been kind of story in terms of how VC profiles have been fragmented in India. It'll be interesting to hear if anybody's here from the VC world. I think they can share some first-hand perspective as well.
So, Deepak, thanks for that. And just to probably keep the flow going, one interesting thing which happened in India is the crowdsourcing, or I'll say democratization of VC investing per se, where the ticket size has been reduced to as low as 10 lakhs. I mean, naturally, the pros and cons. As I was talking about the Series 3 of that fund, I also did a small ticket, 10 lakhs kind of a thing on a fund, on a company which incidentally is doing quite well from Angel List. But the kind of support I get from VC fund side, probably I'm more comfortable putting that big ticket than this. So what are these? I mean, is AngelList the most popular platform where if let's say anybody on the speaker listener side who's just evaluating, just to probably see the flow, want to put a 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs kind of a sum, is that possible? And second, I mean, naturally in doing so, we take enormous amount of risk because especially tech startups have a huge failure rates also, right? So if your number of bets are less, naturally your volatility of returns will be very high, right? It can be make or break kind of an investment. But over to you, Deepak. I mean, what are your experience? I mean, from your side of things, basis your experience, is this like very popular, becoming more popular, or is it more of an exception and still the big money is there on the table?
No, but you're very right. Actually, it's very popular nowadays because every industry or every domain that we are seeing, there is a sort of democratization which is happening in terms of the process. So even on the startup funding side, the previously क्या होता था कि जो AIFs है, जो alternative investment funds, जो VC funds होते हैं, they operate like AIFs only, AIFs only usually, type 2 and all. So these guys will have a minimum ticket size of say one investor will put in something or commit at least say 1 crore. But a lot of people want to invest below those levels. So there are venture funds, and there are these angel funds also, which typically have a commitment of 25 lakhs, and but the individual ticket size could be as low as 2.5 lakhs also at times. And these are through angel networks, various angel networks. We have IANs, the Indian Angel Network. We have our ventures that have been involved with an angel list, as you mentioned. So a lot of opportunities keep on coming over there as well. But then, इसमें point is here, because there are so many companies, you clearly can't. I mean, there will be so many companies, and your risks will be fragmented. You really have to be very, very lucky, because you are looking at them more from the outside and less from the inside, because the kind of scrutiny that what you individually might want to do, it might not be fair at that kind of ticket size. Then you basically take a leap of faith basis what others have done or what the platform has done, and that's where the success or the reputation of the platform also comes into the picture. But yes, good part is that these opportunities exist now. These avenues exist for a lot of people who want to play on that side, or who want to invest in these kind of stories as well on the startups. So there are opportunities where you can write a check of 2.5 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakhs at an early stage for a tech business or a non-tech business which are raising through angel rounds. So that's been happening. It's heartening to see that. Other than that, there is another space which another set of investors which I missed to mention, that is very, very popular in India, which is the family offices. Family offices have been supporter, or have been championing sort of way of a lot of these startups. So that group is something they invest directly, as well as they invest through these funds also, that is indirectly. So they become partners, or they become limited partners in these funds, and then route their investments through those funds, or sometimes they pick up directly as well. So that's another pool of money which has always been available and which has been increasing as well. In fact, on that note, there is another set of investors which has sort of mushroomed in the past few years, which is the founders. The ex-founders, basically, like Kunal Bahl of Snapdeal. He founded a fund called as Titan Capital. The fund has been doing fantastic. Likewise, I think Sachin Bansal, Benny Bansal, they also have committed a lot of their money into startups. Even at our level, at my personal level, also I made some investments through some of these platforms, and it's good to see the rising power of India's youth, how we are leveraging tech, how we are seeing opportunities unfold in front of us. And yes, it's a risky domain. Not every company will see its way through. In the VC world, they say typically out of 100, maybe 5 or 10 will do good, and they expect to recover that, all their money as well as their returns for their investors through those 10 companies. So success rate will be low, and that is where we have to be, say, methodological in terms of what we want to access, what is our investment thesis. We have to be sure about that. And then of course, there is a business risk with all what we do. Yeah, Prince, you're saying something? I think there's some network issue then. So in terms of investment thesis, few things which I have seen these VCs, look at in terms of the criteria. One is the TAM, which is the target addressable market. Whenever they are making an investment at an early stage, the key criteria that they have is how big is the TAM? Is the TAM really big? If the TAM is big, they believe that the success, the factor or the success ratio will improve considerably, given that the market is huge. So even if we get a small market share, or if the consolidation happens down the line, they will be able to get good returns for their money. Second and the foremost is the quality of promoter, I think, or the management. That is something which is common across the companies that we invest in, whether it is startups or SMEs or large corporates. I think quality of promoter or quality of management is something which is a crucial factor for every investor, be it equity, debt. Even for an employee, when you are making your own sweat investment in the company, I think that's a very important factor, and that is something which becomes a key factor, say, amongst the top two.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today. 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 Download your
I'm back, Prince.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry for the glitch.
No worries, friends.
I know.
I think India should first invest a lot of money in telecom sector. Make make it 3, 4, 5 player and better bandwidth even before we start, aiming AI of the world. Just to lighten up. I mean, Deepak, let's take a pause. Let there some other
Yeah,
people join.
let people join back. Yeah.
And Prince, maybe the speed might be fast. I mean, Deepak obviously has very vast amount of experience. He might be telling which probably others will tell you in hours, etc. But let's hear at his pace anyway. And during question answer, we can probably lighten up a little bit. So Deepak, you may like to hold till probably we have more listeners, so that flow is
Sure.
continued. And maybe if anyone else has questions, etc., they can obviously type in, or anyone wants to add value by coming as a speaker, so even that is welcome.
I think Sandeep, like people will keep on joining gradually, so we shall start or thoda isko bilingual rakhte hain, because at times we get a request from our audience that we should also have some Hindi element to our conversation. So let's make it a balanced conversation so that we can do justice to both the audience from the Hindi belt and non-Hindi belt.
Perfect, Prince. So
Sure.
that's anyway is my domain, English. I'm never very comfortable. And Deepak is also from roots wise Haryana, Rohtak, based out of Gurgaon. So we all are obviously extremely comfortable in Hindi also. And someone like Deepak is comfortable in both languages. So
Yeah,
anyway,
so
back to you.
Sandeep, so Haryana is indeed one place which has done great justice to English on a lighter note. Yeah, Deepak, over to you.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. नहीं, अभी भी हम मतलब इंग्लिश का कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को मिल जाता है. मेरा बेटा 9 साल का है, तो वो कुछ ना कुछ मेरी प्रोनाउंसिएशन अभी भी ठीक कराता रहता है. तो क्योंकि बचपन में तो हम सब छोटे सिटी से हैं, हिंदी मीडियम टाइप में थे. बाद में जब 10th के बाद थोड़ा नॉन मेडिकल, फिर उसके बाद कॉलेज गए, थोड़ा कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स का प्रिपरेशन किया, तब जाके थोड़ी इंग्लिश सुधारी अपनी. मतलब पढ़ लेते थे. आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल हु कम फ्रॉम स्मॉल टाउन लाइक मी, वी आर गुड एट रीडिंग इंग्लिश, राइटिंग इंग्लिश, स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश हमारी धीरे धीरे ठीक हो जाती है, फिर आदत हो जाती है. तो मतलब उस मामले में विद एक्सपीरियंस हो जाती है.
True that.
Perfect.
So
So Deepak, I think we were talking about these crowdsourcing kind of a thing. We see becoming like a small ticket size. So you were probably covering on that. So once you're
yeah.
done with that aspect of it, probably I'm giving you a next topic where I would like you to expand, and especially maybe not so much for investors, but anyone here who is a potential founder, would like to understand how does this venture debt kind of a thing works. I think there is some revenue linkages. I'm talking about some couple of names which we discussed few years back, where luckily, in fact, both of them got that kind of a funding also, where equity dilution was not there. It was more like a preferred debt. So what are the different instruments which VCs use apart from plain direct equity, including convertibles or anything else? And then what are
Correct.
the pros and cons of such instruments from founders perspective as well as investors perspective? If you can
Sure.
probably touch on that deeper.
बिल्कुल वो थोड़ा सा ज्यादा वाइड हो जाएगा. मेरे को लग रहा है कि बहुत सारी ऑप्शंस हो जाएंगे तो बहुत सारा वाइड ना हो जाए. तो बट इफ देयर इज अ वे टू फॉर अस टू नो फीडबैक कि हम ज्यादा डीप जा रहे हैं या ज्यादा वाइड जाना है, maybe we can
So
go wide this time and deep
So
next time.
Deepak, our audience is a niche audience, so definitely feel free to talk whichever is relevant. So ऐसा नहीं है कि ऊपर से जाएगा. So these are
हाँ,
a bunch of learned guys who understand the things.
डेफिनेटली मेरा मतलब ये था कि विद इंटरेस्ट ऑफ टाइम हम कितना विड्थ कवर करें और कितना डेप्थ करें. तो ठीक है, दैट्स फाइन. आप बीच में गाइड कर देना कभी भी, प्रिंस, आपको लगे ऐसा.
And maybe people can do thumbs up or some kind of a comment just to moderate the flow, etc. I mean, even if people are in listening. So yeah, Deepak, over to you.
Correct. So starting from where we left, about the crowdsourcing kind of a thing. While crowdsourcing in equity is technically not allowed, SEBI has banned it per se. But this is more like, it's not crowdsourcing, this is angel fund investment. Those angel fund platforms are running in the country where you can invest, say, ticket size of 2.5 lakhs, 5 lakh rupees. There are opportunities which are showcased on a weekly basis. I've been part of some of these forums as well, where they show 5-6 स्टार्टअप्स आती हैं, आधे आधे घंटे का स्लॉट मिलता है उनको, वो सब आके अपना प्रेजेंट करते हैं, और जिसको अच्छा लगता है वो अपना इंटरेस्ट शो करते हैं, और उसके बाद दे कैन गो फॉरवर्ड एंड मेक एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. एंड दीज आर प्रीटी सेफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. मतलब पेपर वर्क और इन सब चीज़ों में, लीगल फ्रेमवर्क वगैरह में काफ़ी अच्छे सिस्टम से काफ़ी इवॉल्व हो गए हैं. एंड ये सब प्लेटफॉर्म्स आर मोस्टली रन बाय या तो अच्छे बैकग्राउंड के लोग ही हैं, जो कि खुद भी पहले वीसी फंड्स में थे, और फ्रॉम पीपल हु हैव कम बैक टू इंडिया आल्सो फ्रॉम ओवरसीज. ऐसे भी बहुत लोग हैं इस इंडस्ट्री में, बिकॉज वीसी इंडस्ट्री इंडिया के बाहर ज़्यादा बढ़ी रही है हमेशा, स्पेशली यूएस में और यूरोप में. So if anybody is looking to make these small investments, you can explore some of these areas like Indian Angel Network, our Ventures, 100x VC, Angel List. आप यहाँ पे अपने आप को रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं, उनको ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, उनके ग्रुप्स भी होते हैं, एंड यू कैन स्टार्ट लिसनिंग टू सम ऑफ दीज चीज. जो आपको अच्छा लगता है सेक्टर, जो डोमेन आपको अच्छा लगता है, उस डोमेन में आप समझिए कोई कंपनी अच्छी लगती है तो आप Q&A करके प्रॉपरली यू कैन मेक एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. So that avenue always exists. I think that is open in India. So that's one part. Now coming to the other part, Sandeep, which you mentioned about, say, other avenues or other instruments with which VCs will typically, or companies will raise money. देखो, एक तो है कि ये डायरेक्ट इक्विटी वाली जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, वेयर आपको, आपने कंपनी सेटअप की, आपकी कंपनी थोड़ी सी चली, आपने बोला कि ठीक है यार, मेरे को कुछ पैसे की जरूरत है कंपनी को एक स्टेशन से दूसरे स्टेशन ले जाने के लिए, एक स्टेज से दूसरी स्टेज, और आपने फैमिली फ्रेंड से किया, या फिर आपने एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म है इस पे गए और आपने कुछ पैसा रेज कर लिया. उससे पहले हो सकता है कि आपने इंस्टीट्यूशनल भी ट्राई किया हो. इंस्टीट्यूशनल में कई बारी थोड़ा टाइम ज़्यादा लग जाता है, उनकी साइकिल्स लंबी होती हैं. दी अदर वंस व्हेन यू आर रेजिंग थ्रू इंडिविजुअल, डिसीजन मेकिंग इज रिलेटिवली फास्टर. तो उसमें तो आपने एक तरीका कि आपने प्लेन वनीला इक्विटी इशू कर दिया. टिपिकली क्या होता है सीड फंडिंग में, इनिशियल स्टेजेस में आप 10 से 15% इक्विटी देते हो, और आप डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट बिजनेस, व्हाट आर योर प्लान्स, रेवेन्यूज, क्या आपकी एस्पिरेशंस है, आप अपने बिजनेस की खुद क्या वैल्यू करते हो, उस हिसाब से आप एक वैल्यू पे ये रेज करते हो. देयर आर पीपल हु रेज मनी एट 2 करोड़ वैल्यू ऑल्सो. लोग 20 करोड़ पे भी वाला राउंड करते हैं. ये बहुत कुछ फाउंडर की विजन और फाउंडर के अपने व्यूज पे रहता है. मार्केट प्रैक्टिस दोनों तरफ है. मोर कॉमन आई फाइल से मीडियन कहीं 10 करोड़ के आसपास होगा. 10 करोड़ पे 2 करोड़ रुपए रेज करना या 1.5 करोड़ रुपए रेज करना बहुत ही कॉमन है. एक चैलेंज ये आता है कि जब कंपनी सिर्फ पेपर पे होती है, सीड स्टेज पे, या स्टार्ट ही की होती है सिर्फ, स्पेशली जब यंग लोग होते हैं, तो फिर जो इन्वेस्ट कर रहा होता है उसको लगता है यार, वाई शुड आई वैल्यू 10 करोड़, मतलब ऐसे कैसे 10 करोड़ होगी, अभी तो कुछ रेवेन्यू नहीं है. और फाउंडर को लगता है यार, ये कंपनी तो 1000 करोड़ की बनने वाली है, मैं 10 करोड़ में दे रहा हूँ, इसको समझ नहीं आ रहा है इसका पैसा 100x होने वाला है. तो दोनों तरह की जब प्रॉब्लम आती है कि वैल्यूएशन क्या होनी चाहिए, तो उस स्टेज पे क्या होता है, एक कन्वर्टिबल्स जो डिबेंचर्स हैं वो बहुत ही अच्छा तरीका है, और काफ़ी कॉमन भी हो गया है इंडिया में. जब हमने अपना फंड रेज किया था 2018 में, 18-19 में, उस टाइम इतना कॉमन नहीं था. हमारे एक दो फ्रेंड्स ने किया, उन्होंने हमें बताया, फिर हमने देखा तो पढ़ा तो पता चला कि यूएस में तो इट्स वेरी कॉमन. मतलब सिलिकॉन वैली में कन्वर्टिबल नोट्स टिपिकली क्या होता है, सीसीडीज, कंपल्सरीली कन्वर्टिबल डिबेंचर्स इशू हो जाते हैं. सो पीपल आर होल्डिंग these convertible debentures which will convert into equity. बट उसकी जो वैल्यू है, जिस वैल्यू पे वो कन्वर्ट होंगे, वो वैल्यू किसी माइलस्टोन पे फिक्स कर दी जाती है. टिपिकली स्टार्टअप्स के लिए रहता है वो माइलस्टोन कि जब आप अगला इंस्टीट्यूशनल राउंड करोगे, जब आपके कोई बड़ा फंड इन्वेस्ट करेगा, व्हेन दे विल मेक इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑफ से $1 million और अबाउ, तो एक वैल्यूएशन निकलेगी. एक वो अच्छे से स्क्रूटनी करेंगे, मार्केट साइज भी देखेंगे, आपके प्रोडक्ट की कैपेसिटी भी देखेंगे, हाउ मच मार्केट शेयर यू कैन गेट, आपकी प्रोजेक्शंस क्या है, सब चीज़ें देखकर एक वैल्यू बनेगी. उस वैल्यू पे फिर एक डिस्काउंट एग्री हो जाता है. टू पुट अ सिंपल एग्जांपल, सपोज आज हमने एग्री, मैं बोलता हूँ मेरी कंपनी की वैल्यू 50 करोड़ है, आप कहते हो नहीं 5 करोड़ है, मैं कहता हूँ चलो छोड़ो यार, वैल्यू आज डिसाइड नहीं करते हैं. आप कंपनी में आपने 1 करोड़ रुपए इन्वेस्ट किया, उसकी वैल्यू जो भी, जिस भी राउंड में मैं पैसा अगला रेज करूंगा अगले 2 साल में, आपको उसके ऊपर से 2% पर मंथ का डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा. सो इफेक्टिवली आपने जो आज पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया, that is giving you 2% per month return till the time I raise a round. If I don't raise a round, तो एक मिनिमम वैल्यू पे वो कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज फ्लोर. और ऊपर की साइड पे भी एक कैप लगा देते हैं, उसको कहते हैं कैप. तो वो आपके सीसीडी जो कंपल्सरी कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर है, उसके स्ट्रक्चर में ही आ जाता है, आपके एग्रीमेंट में, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस में. तो ये काफ़ी कॉमन हो गया और ये काफ़ी अच्छा तरीका, इट्स अ विन विन सिचुएशन. So that is one good instrument which is available for seed stage founders. अगर आप ऐसा कुछ सोच रहे हैं अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने का, so I think you should explore it well, because इसमें अपसाइड है आपके लिए भी. क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं चाहते हैं कि आप कम वैल्यू पे डाइल्यूट करें, तो प्लस एट द सेम टाइम इन्वेस्टर को भी एक फेयर रिटर्न मिलना चाहिए, तो इससे दोनों अचीव हो जाते हैं. सो ये तो हो गया सीड स्टेज के लिए. अब उसके बाद क्या होता है कि वीसी स्टेज पे जब आपने पैसा रेज कर लिया, सपोज आप सीरीज ए में आ गए, जहां पर आपने आपके बिजनेस ग्रो होने लग गया, आपकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी नहीं आई है बट आपका बिजनेस में स्केल आने लग गया है. प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट करके एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कि प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट हम उसे कहते हैं कि जब आपका प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में आपको पुश नहीं करना पड़ रहा, आपको पुल हो रहा है प्रोडक्ट. मतलब अभी तक तो आप जा जाके बता रहे थे, देखिए मैंने कुछ नया बनाया है, व्हाई डोंट यू ट्राई. चाहे वो बी टू बी है या बी टू सी है. बी टू सी में थोड़ा जल्दी पता चल जाता है बिकॉज यू हैव मोर रेवेन्यूज. बी टू बी में धीरे धीरे फिटमेंट आती है, तो फिर आपको थोड़ा सा पुशी होता है प्रोडक्ट इनिशियली बी टू बी में, बिकॉज मोटिवेशन नहीं होती है बी टू बी बायर के पास हमेशा कुछ और. इट हैज मोर रेजिस्टेंस दैट वे. सो वहां पर उस स्टेज पे जाकर जहाँ पुश आपका पुल में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है, उसको कहते हैं प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट. और एक स्टार्टअप की जर्नी में वो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट माइलस्टोन होता है. वो एक खुद का अप्रेजल है इंसान का कि यार हाँ, मैं जो कर रहा हूँ काम की चीज़ है भी या नहीं है. मतलब जबरदस्ती पुश कर करके तो मैं, हो सकता है माई सेल्स टीम कुड बी वेरी गुड और सम पीपल माइट जस्ट बी ट्राइंग मी आउट, और मैं प्राइस कम ले रहा हूँ मार्केट में, तो लोगों को ठीक है ट्राई कर रहे हैं. बट व्हेन दैट पुश बिकम्स पुल, दैट इज व्हेन द रियल द अप्रेजल हैपेंस फॉर द फाउंडर हिमसेल्फ और हरसेल्फ. तो उस स्टेज के बाद से जब आप पैसा रेज करना शुरू करते हैं और जब आपके रेवेन्यूज इंक्रीज होने शुरू होते हैं, उस स्टेज पे रेवेन्यू लिंक्ड फाइनेंसिंग ऑप्शंस भी होती हैं कि आप रेवेन्यू के बेसिस पे आप फंडिंग रेज करते हो. दैट्स मोर लाइक ए डेट ओनली, प्योर डेट. एंड बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट रेवेन्यू यू आर जनरेटिंग, टिपिकल आपके काफ़ी एनबीएफसीज हैं उस स्पेस में, वो आपको फाइनेंसिंग दे देती है. एंड सेकेंड विच हैज कम अप इन द लास्ट 4-5 years इज वेंचर डेट. अभी थोड़ा सा वेंचर डेट एज वी स्पीक इस साल थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग चल रहा है अभी, बिकॉज इक्विटी राउंड्स नहीं हो रहे हैं. फोकस सारा प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे आ गया वर्सेस जो पहले 3-4 साल पहले दुनिया चलती थी, जीएमवी पे चलती थी. जैसे ई कॉम में जीएमवी होता है, ग्रोस मर्चेंडाइज वैल्यू, कि आप कितना बिजनेस कर रहे हैं. ये नहीं था कि आपका रेवेन्यू कितना है, आप ग्रॉस कितना कर रहे हैं. उस पर बहुत बिजनेस चलता था. अभी भी काफ़ी प्रेजेंटेशंस में वो देखने को मिलता है हमें कि हमने प्रीमियम कितना पे किया. जैसे आप पॉलिसी बाजार का देखेंगे तो उनका रेवेन्यू भी आता है, बट टोटल ग्रॉस प्रीमियम कितना हुआ, या जोमेटो ने कितने ऑर्डर्स डिलीवर करे, कितने वैल्यू के ऑर्डर्स डिलीवर किए. अब चीज़ें रेवेन्यू पे आने लगी हैं. तो अब उस स्टेज पे आप आते हो तो आप वेंचर डेट करके एक कॉन्सेप्ट है. उसमें क्या होता है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ, अगर आपको डाइल्यूट करना है, आपको कुछ पैसा रेज करना है, तो आप डाइल्यूट नहीं करिए, आप डेट रेज करिए. बट जो वो होता है वो क्वाजी डेट होता है बेसिकली. जो आपको लिए कंपनी में डेट आपको दे रहे हैं जो फंड्स, वो आपका इक्विटी के अगेंस्ट दे रहे हैं, बट थोड़ा सा उसमें वो कन्वर्टेबल ऑप्शन रखते हैं कि अगर एक तो इंटरेस्ट रेट बहुत हाई होता है, लेट सपोज 14-15% इंटरेस्ट पे है, तो आप वो इंटरेस्ट भी पे करते रहेंगे, और उसके बाद कुछ पोर्शन उसका इक्विटी में भी कन्वर्ट होगा. बट इंस्टेड ऑफ से डाइल्यूटिंग फुली, सपोज आपको $10 million रेज करना था, तो आपने $10 million की इक्विटी डाइल्यूट नहीं करी, सपोज आपने $2 million की कर दी और $8 million आपने डेट ही रख लिया प्योर. तो उनका क्या होता है, वो $2 million की उनको अपसाइड मिल जाती है ओवर एंड अबव देयर डेट पे आउट्स. तो उस तरह के काफ़ी स्ट्रक्चर्स कॉमन है इंडिया में, और काफ़ी फंड्स हैं जो वेंचर डेट भी करते हैं, और इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ है वो भी. उसके अलावा तो कॉमन बैंक फैसिलिटीज वगैरह तो अभी भी इतनी अवेलेबल नहीं है स्टार्टअप्स के लिए. इट टेक्स टाइम. आई थिंक नाउ गवर्नमेंट हैज बीन मोर वोकल अबाउट दीज थिंग्स. सो उसमें एड्स भी है, कुछ कुछ जगह पे सिड भी से कुछ लोग लेते हैं. बट होता क्या कि आप प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं होते हो और आपके पास एसेट्स नहीं है. अगर आप टेक वाले हो तो आपके पास कोई हार्ड एसेट्स नहीं है कोलेटरल देने के लिए, तो पैसा रेज करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. ऐसे केसेस में आई थिंक जिस तरह से हमारी पब्लिक मार्केट्स, अभी लिस्टिंग मार्केट्स इवॉल्व हो रही हैं, ग्रो हो रही हैं, it is a big boon overall for the, I think, the startup world and the tech world. I know थोड़ा risky है early stage पे, but at the right stage when they are ready, when they've seen the product market fit, they are ready to scale up. I think उस stage पे अगर वो public market में आते हैं, और हम देख भी रहे हैं काफ़ी कंपनीज आने लग गई हैं आजकल इस stage पे, and the right promoters, right domain में जिनका टाइम अच्छा बड़ा है, promoters अच्छी क्वालिटी के हैं, there are tailwinds to the business sometimes depending on how market is evolving. Like आज की डेट में प्रीमियमाइजेशन की जो वेव चल रही है, इन सब चीज़ों के साथ अगर आप पैसा रेज करने मार्केट में आते हैं, तो आई थिंक द मार्केट्स आर वेरी गुड, थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू एज वेल हु हैव बीन बिग सपोर्टर्स ऑफ एसएमई इन्वेस्टिंग. It's great to see that. तो इस तरह की चीजें हैं कुछ. आई थिंक वो मैं अब ज्यादा बोल रहा हूँ तो मुझे लग रहा है मोनोलॉग ना हो रहा हो.
नहीं perfect.
संदीप,
Deepak, I'm
please.
ready to punctuate and just to probably this thing. Maybe Naveen bhai, if you have anything to ask question or add or anything, otherwise I can probably jump in with next.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to see, try and understand that, there is some kind of a euphoria now going on in the SME, listings, right? So, do you think that right now, with the kind of market what we have, it's even better for the retail investors, to try out, maybe some kind of VC investing, because there maybe, the froth has come down.
वेरी गुड पॉइंट, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. एक्चुअली कम हो गया है फ्रोत, आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं नवीन. मैं इनफैक्ट कुछ दिन पहले कुछ रिपोर्ट कर रहा था, क्योंकि जो स्लो डाउन भी जो हम हमें सुनने में आता है कि वीसी इन्वेस्टमेंट है स्लो डाउन, वो सब ऊपर की टिकट साइजेस में हुई है. जो नीचे की टिकट साइज है, सब $10 million वाले जो राउंड्स हैं, या सब $5 million वाले राउंड्स हैं, उसमें इतना स्लो डाउन नहीं है. उसमें रादर अभी
Okay.
हाई क्वालिटी कंपनीज मिल रही हैं एट रीजनेबल एक्सपेक्टेशंस. बिकॉज अच्छी बात ये होती है, जब पहले क्या था, आज से 2 साल 3 साल पहले किसी को भी पैसा रेज करना बहुत ईजी था. लॉट ऑफ मनी चेजिंग फ्यू पीपल, तो पैसा बहुत इजीली रेज हो रहा था. अब जब से 2 साल 3 साल से जब से टेक का थोड़ा सा स्लो डाउन आया, स्पेशली यूएस में, एंड इंटरेस्ट रेट्स हैव आल्सो गॉन अप इन यूएस, तब से जो फ्री फ्लो है पैसे का वो कम हो गया है. फोकस प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे आ गया है वर्सेस से जीएमवी काइंड ऑफ फिगर्स. तो इसकी वजह से जो वीसी इन्वेस्टिंग स्पेस में अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, these are very attractive. So you're very right in highlighting that. I think we should
Yeah, I think
carefully look
the
at
the accessibility for the retail investor now, right, to buy maybe 500 shares in any SME, and he's ready to invest 1 lakh. अभी उसमें क्या हो गया है, the kind of rush we are having, right, and that is the reason for these frauds. Like everybody says that, okay, मैं आज 1 लाख लगाता हूँ and in 1 month I can even double my money, right? That's the kind of euphoria what is going on, and that is one of the reasons I feel is easy accessibility, okay, and a lot of stories around those SME companies. But when you see it from venture capital, right, like maybe if I just do a size of 1,000 retail investors, 999 will not even know anything about VC investing, but in that 1,000 today 800 know about SME investing. So that is the reason of the vast difference, where I feel, in fact, in the VC space, the opportunities are better today.
बट बहुत रिस्की भी है साथ में नवीन भाई. मतलब जो व्यूअर्स हैं, मतलब एसएमई में
No,
क्या है कि आपके पास डाइवर्सिफाइड है, बिकॉज अगर आपका ध्यान नहीं जा रहा है तो देयर आर 1,000 अदर शेयर होल्डर्स. वहां पर नंबर ऑफ
Yeah.
शेयर होल्डर्स इज लेस, डिस्क्लोजर्स कम है. यहाँ पर
Yeah.
कुछ गवर्नमेंट की भी रेगुलेशंस हैं, सेबी की काफी रेगुलेशंस हैं. देयर आर रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लाइक प्रमोटर आफ्टर आईपीओ कैन नॉट सेल फॉर 1 year, लॉक इन होता है, एंकर लॉक इन,
Right.
मतलब कुछ तरह के. क्योंकि सेबी का ज्यादा फोकस रिटेल इन्वेस्टर ही रहता है. लाइक अगर
Yeah.
आप यूएस में देखेंगे, यूएस में शायद इतना नहीं है उस टाइप की रिस्ट्रिक्शंस. यूएस में
Yeah.
मटेरियलिटी के बेसिस पे डिस्क्लोजर होते हैं. यहाँ पर रूल बेस्ड डिस्क्लोजर होते हैं कि जो हुआ है आपको बताना है. इवन
Correct.
आरएचपी जितने डिटेल्ड होते हैं, जो कि वहाँ नहीं. तो वो थोड़ी प्रोटेक्शन है यहाँ पर. एसएमई दैट वे सेफर. But yes.
Yeah, and I think exit also is there, right? In SME,
Yes, correct.
that you want to exit tomorrow morning, you can just exit even
Correct.
if you're at a loss.
Correct. Any day you can click the button and get the money in say 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. वो चीज नहीं है वहाँ पर. High risk, high gain है, classic theory. But yes, as you rightly said, if people have understood businesses at early stage and they want to go deeper, मतलब 1-2 लेवल नीचे जाना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि अपॉर्चुनिटीज आईपीओज में है, फिर प्री आईपीओज में होती हैं, और उसके भी नीचे जाना चाहते हैं, एंड दे वांट टू प्ले द टेक थीम इन इंडिया, और जो पूरा टेक का बूम है एक तरीके से इंडिया का, तो अब एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए. बट ईच वन टू हिज ओन, मतलब अपना ड्यू डिलिजेंस करके, और उसको जिसका जितना रिस्क कैपेबिलिटी हो, क्योंकि वहां पर एग्जिट ऑप्शन का बहुत लिमिटेड है. मतलब यू कांट एग्जिट सो इजीली एज एन
Exactly.
एग्जिट.
So, Naveen bhai, I would like to add there. So, there is one aspect which I personally give huge premium is the ease of investment, ease and
Yeah.
exit of investment, right? The reason why I don't invest in real estate, I mean, obviously we all do because of parents' pressure. So, एक दो घर तो ले ही लेते हैं, but उसके बाद I know a lot of people in my age group are 6 houses in Bangalore and Noida and all that. I can't do that. Why? Because I don't want to talk to brokers and tenants all the time. It's not easy for me. It's much easier for me to be on screen, just sell, no question asked, buy, no question asked, don't need to report to anyone, don't need to ask anyone. You'll get your data, right? So that ease of investment is equally important for someone like me than the returns per se. And in fact, that is why I was earlier mentioning I've taken a small VC exposure more to just understand. I mean, not typically my style. Some of you who know me, I mean, both Deepak and Naveen know know me very well, that I'm more into boring businesses, cash flow positive businesses. So typically, tech kind of a thing, non-linear play doesn't excite me. But at the same time, there are some really amazing people doing amazing things. So you want to get engaged with best in the class. From that perspective, I put in a fund in called Your Nest Series 3. And I also did a 10 lakh small ticket leverage IDO. But my experience with Your Nest is much better. Why? Because they give a quarterly reports. They have spread these bets around 10 startups. They get journeys, etc. In the second one, also obviously by Angel List, I'm getting those reports and I'm sharing it in public forum. So if anyone has, somehow these messages go to those individuals platforms, obviously intent is not to talk about the specific cases, but just to share the journey or experience. In the second case, I'm always like more anxious. Where is my exit? I mean, I can see from the data or following the company via public records is that surprisingly it is doing very well, but still I don't know when will I get my exit, right? But in Your Nest, I know that 7 flat year they will have to find out an exit. That's by rule, right? Whether it is minus 40% or plus 200% doesn't matter. So at least in my mind, it's a logged investment where I'm seeing the journey, but I know the end date. But the moment you go into direct VC kind of investment or private equity or pre-IPOs, the biggest challenge is exit, right? There you need very heavy involvement and expertise and circle to do that, which not everyone has. There are time bandwidth concern also, right? Not everyone can start writing mails, engaging with people. मेरा shares आया नहीं, मुझे update नहीं मिला. Those kind of challenges, and that becomes super easy in something like SME. I mean, most people are not even reading what company does. स्टॉक लिया 313 413 पे बेच दिया. So if purpose is purely money making, and which is in itself is a noble pursuit, right? A pursuit of money. Probably that listed world gives you that amazing ease, right? Brokerages are very small. At least you get a quarterly disclosure. So I'll come to the disclosure part, Deepak. I solely want to understand a bit more, because while you talked about compulsory disclosure, the quantity of disclosure is very high in SME, but sometimes I feel that some of these smaller startups or founders don't understand their duty to update their shareholders on materiality basis, as in a trend, especially on the downside, right? You're duty bound for both sides. So, but I'll take a pause there. But Naveen bhai, that was one experience. So someone like you, who is very nuanced, experienced, can probably spend time. Probably it makes sense, but for a lot of retail investors, it probably, in my view, doesn't make sense to straight away jump into VC just because it sounds very exciting to say कि मैंने VC investment किया है.
Agree, and I think that is the reason for now the SME market being so hot is because the ease of entry exit, and they are getting some, like, I can see, like many. I want to say that you have a very good template of investing in companies which have like a quarterly result, right? That's something like many of the SMEs are not doing, and if they can give proper updates, whether negative or positive, but the investor is aware of what is happening, that's going to like take it a long way forward.
Yeah, perfect. So, Deepak, I'll probably switch on to the next topic where I wish I can hear from you. One challenge is in big micro cap investor I face is that while disclosures are aplenty, they often give these meaningless disclosures. I don't want to even open the PDF, right? मेरा आज ऑफिस खुल गया, मेरा एक MOU साइन हुआ, क्या करना है? But on the contrary, I understand we see one pager business updates, everything you want to know, nothing is left, but nothing is extra also, kind of an update, right? So, I mean that will be ideal, and I mean that's like merging the best practices from two, right? So, once the money is given, Deepak, what kind of disclosures these VC investors expect from a founder like yours? And what is the level of engagement? Do they really bother you like on a weekly basis? Sales बढ़ा कि नहीं बढ़ा, etc. Or is it more of a supportive function, arranging some client meetings, some business potential, which in typical parlance called growth investing, where they're just not passive investors, they are probably active investors also. So something on those lines, Deepak, if you can wish. I mean,
Sure.
are they partners? Are they intruders? I mean, naturally, both cases can be there, but those pros and cons kind of a thing.
Yeah, sure. No, that's a very interesting question. Very good question. In a way, it's an important aspect actually when a founder looks at raising money, because the idea is whether you just want money or you want money plus plus. Plus plus say I mean की guidance or ability to help the business or grow the business also. Because otherwise सबका पैसा सेम है ना कि आपने पैसा कहाँ से रेज किया. But in terms of making your venture successful, that kind of support जो आप ecosystem से ले सकते हो अपने investor ecosystem से, that is very useful. So to answer your point, depending on the stage at which VC is coming in, मतलब अगर वो अर्ली स्टेजेस पे आ रहे हैं VC सीड स्टेज पे और प्री सीरीज ए पे, तो वो पक्का ही इन्वॉल्व होंगे अर्ली स्टेजेस में आपकी बेसिक पॉलिसीज में. दे विल गेट इन्वॉल्व इन इवन एज मच थिंग्स लाइक हायरिंग पॉलिसीज, कि आप क्या हो, अपनी जो ए टीम बना रहे हो फाउंडर्स, बिकॉज यू ऑलवेज नीड अ टीम टू ग्रो द बिजनेस. आप अकेले एक इतना ही कर सकते हो ना, उससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकते हो. अपनी आपको अगर फास्ट ग्रोथ चाहिए तो आपको अच्छी टीम बनानी पड़ेगी, और अच्छी टीम बनाने के लिए जो आपकी पॉलिसीज हैं, प्रोसेसेस हैं, उस पर काफ़ी बेंचमार्क्स हैं. अमेजोन की कुछ प्रोसेसेस हैं जो कि बहुत फेमस है. अमेजोन की कहते हैं कि 80 to 90 आवर्स लगाते हैं एक इंजीनियर को हायर करने में अमेजोन के लोग. तो इस तरह की प्रोसेसेस है जो कि वीसीज अगर अर्ली स्टेज में आते हैं, तो बेसिकली वो ना सिर्फ बोर्ड पे सीट लेते हैं या गवर्निंग बॉडी पे सीट लेते हैं, वो आपको आपको ऐसी प्रोसेसेस बनाने में भी हेल्प करते हैं जिससे आपके बिजनेस को बहुत फायदा होता है और आप फ्यूचर के लिए रेडी हो जाते हो. सो दैट इज वन. सेकेंडली, यू मेंशन अबाउट द अपडेट्स, द रेगुलर अपडेट्स. टिपिकली वीकली नहीं होता है, इट इज मोर लाइक ए मंथली अपडेट, क्योंकि वीक इज टू शॉर्ट टू पास बाय. तो ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए ना कि फाउंडर्स को काम भी करना है, बहुत ज़्यादा पेन ना हो उनके लिए भी. कोई अगर सर पे पूरा टाइम ही खड़ा रहेगा तो ऐसा नहीं होता है. देयर कुड बी सिचुएशंस लाइक, देयर इज अ सिचुएशन लाइक दैट, देन किसी सिचुएशन स्पेसिफिक सिनेरियो में कोई हो सकता है इन्वेस्टर उस तरह का इतना क्लोज हो जाए. बट मोस्टली दीज आर मंथली अपडेट्स. आई रिमेम्बर जब हम लोग अपना बिजनेस चलाते थे तो हमारा बहुत ही क्लियर था. हमारे को किसी किसी अच्छे सीनियर कॉर्पोरेट किसी ने एक बात बताई थी कि कुछ एक बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस थी, मे बी भारती ग्रुप की थी या एयरटेल ग्रुप की थी, कि जब भी वहाँ पे अपडेट जाती थी तो छोटे से लेकर बड़े इन्वेस्टर को एक साथ जाती थी. चाहे आप छोटे से छोटे इन्वेस्टर हो, चाहे आप वार्बर्ग पिंकर्स हो, आपको सबको सेम लेवल ऑफ डिस्क्लोजर एंड एक साथ जाएगा. तो हमने भी सोचा हम भी ऐसे ही फॉलो करेंगे, तो हमें अच्छा लगा, हमने वो चीज़ सीखी. और उससे ये होता था कि जो हमारे एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स थे जिन्होंने छोटा सा अमाउंट डाल रखा था रिलेटिवली, मतलब पैसे उनके वैसे तो बड़ा ही है, आई डोंट मीन टू से एनीथिंग छोटा, विद ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, फिर लेसर अमाउंट नंबर वाइज, लीविंग इमोशंस असाइड, वर्सेस से अ लार्ज वीसी इन्वेस्टर जो आपके बोर्ड पे भी है या गवर्निंग बॉडी पे भी है, सबको सेम अपडेट जा रही है, वही क्वालिटी ऑफ अपडेट जा रही है, वैसे ही जा रहा है. तो उनको भी एक लेवल का कॉन्फिडेंस आता है मैनेजमेंट में, और उनको लगता है कि हाँ यार, मेरी भी कुछ वैल्यू है, ये मुझे भी वही बता रहे हैं जो उनको बता रहे हैं, मेरे से कुछ छुपा हुआ नहीं है. तो उससे फिर वर्ड ऑफ माउथ भी होता है, आपकी रेपुटेशन भी बनती है इंडस्ट्री में. तो आई थिंक ये ऐसी एक प्रैक्टिस है जो अगर एसएमई में भी, क्योंकि रूल बाउंड भी है यहाँ, तो सबको एक साथ ही बताना होता है, तो सबको एक साथ बताएंगे वो तो अच्छा रहेगा. इस तरह की प्रैक्टिसेस वो लोग फॉलो करेंगे. बट टिपिकली मंथली होती हैं अपडेट्स. फॉर्मेट्स भी वो लोग मिलके साथ में काम करते हैं. क्या होता है, हर एनालिटिक्स का बहुत यूज होता है स्टार्टअप्स पे टिपिकली, बिकॉज ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं होता कि अगर बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगाना पड़े रिपोर्ट्स बनाने में, तो फिर वो पर्पस ही खत्म हो जाता है. सो टिपिकली इनिशियल डेज में, इनिशियल 3 महीने 6 महीने में काफ़ी लोग फोकस करते हैं टू आइडेंटिफाई कि हमारे बिजनेस के क्या केपीआईज है, विच इज़ की परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर हर बिजनेस के. जैसे सपोज आज हम ये अपना स्पेसिस कर रहे हैं, तो आई एम श्योर प्रिंस विल हैव हिज ओन की परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर, कि कितने लोग आए, कितना टाइम रुके, बाउंस रेट क्या था, कैसा रहा चला, कितनी पार्टिसिपेशन हुई, कितने लोगों ने बोला, क्वेश्चन पूछे. तो हर बिजनेस का कुछ एक केपीआईज बन जाता है. तो वो केपीआईज बनाने में शुरू में बहुत टाइम लगाया जाता है, पर एक बार वो केपीआईज बन जाते हैं तो फिर उनको हम ऑटोमेट कर देते हैं. देयर आर एनालिटिक्स टूल्स विच आर अवेलेबल, डाटाबेसेस के साथ लिंक करके फिर वो डैशबोर्ड्स बन जाते हैं. तो काफ़ी बार वो डैशबोर्ड्स की एक्सेस भी दे देते हैं हम उनको. इट इज़ एज ट्रांसपेरेंट एज दैट. फिर कुछ छुपा रहे हैं, ऑफकोर्स यू कैन गिव इट टू एन इंडिविजुअल शेयर होल्डर, बट जो लोग गवर्निंग बॉडी में हैं और जो फाउंडर्स हैं उनके पास वो एक्सेस रहती है, ताकि फाउंडर्स तो डेली बेसिस पे अपडेट होती है कि आज मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में कितना पैसा आया, कितना मैंने सेल किया। बट इन्वेस्टर्स को टिपिकली एक अच्छे स्ट्रक्चर्ड फॉर्मेट में मंथली बेसिस पे हम लोग शेयर करते थे, और मोस्टली करते हैं सभी कंपनीज में। अभी भी जिस कंपनी का मैं पार्ट रहा हूँ, कंपनी विच एक्वायर्ड अस, वहां पर भी मैंने देखा है कि उनको डेली बेसिस पे दे नो व्हाट इज देयर कलेक्शन, व्हाट इज देयर सेल्स, एंड ऑफ डे रिपोर्ट्स आर ऑटोमेटेड, सो दैट पूरा ग्रिप रहता है बिजनेस का। सो कभी भी ऑलवेज रेडी फॉर एनी इन्वेस्टर डिस्कशन।
See, that is
So
one of the advantages, right? That when you're bringing in, sometimes an investor with a good, pedigree knowledge of the corporate world, right? So many of these startups, like I've even noticed in the past, they don't have any idea of these KPIs, dashboards, how to report, and all that, right? They are very good speakers and they're very, very confident on their business, right? And then the business model also is wonderful. But for them to project it in the right way and also give somebody who's a very large VC investor, a monthly report in a simple dashboard, right? What is his sale, what's his growth, and all that. Very, very key concepts where, they don't have to even talk to the founders very often. They understand the monthly reports are coming in a form of a dashboard. और आजकल तो इतने अच्छे dashboards आने लगे, like, I don't want to name the company I'm working for, but it's so beautifully automated with Power BI that, just by viewing it in 5 minutes, you can come to know the entire story, what's going on from the last 1 month.
true.
And that's very important for somebody with that experience of the corporate world coming and, hand holding them to, picture themselves as a big corporate.
Actually, Naveen bhai, that is very interesting point what Deepak says, because like the kind of involvement I do in my micro cap portfolio, right? The
Yeah,
biggest challenge I face is in first 3 months, 6 months, as you're saying, everyone is a good talker, right? To
yeah,
understand how do I evaluate your business? What are the KPIs? KPIs cannot be just revenue kitna hai, PAT kitna growth aayega, right? How do I
right.
even know you are growing or degrowing, or you struggled, etc.? It cannot be just simple top line and bottom line, right? एक बिजनेस में नंबर ऑफ क्लाइंट्स इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकते हैं, दूसरे बिजनेस में लीनियर ग्रोथ है तो यू कैन think of hiring as a leading indicator of things. In some businesses, employee doesn't matter. In some businesses, something else matters, right? So every business has some unique KPIs, which actually promoters mostly understands. In some cases, they are not able to articulate. In some cases, they don't care also. So one interesting case, and I'm forgetting the name. If someone from the listeners can add, uh, this company was constantly pitched by someone I really respect. I never had an opportunity to evaluate a Pune-based company, SME listed, which is giving a monthly update, like a one-pager, beautiful writing. And I was so impressed, but it just like number didn't make sense to me, and I didn't have bandwidth to probably engage with them. But I could sense that someone from VC world, etc., has probably guided them. So if every company just simply does that, they can just shut down their call centers of all these people trying to reach out to promoters and this and that, this disclosure. Just put a one pager every month, start of the month. That's it, right? Then information arbitrage is reduced, and once information arbitrage is reduced, what happens is expectations are same. Then any deviation will probably have less volatility, right? And the less the volatile stock, which we say drawdowns and up downs, right? I mean, in fact, yesterday someone mentioned, and I found that comment very amazing. In yesterday's space, someone says SME investing ka crux hai information arbitrage. That's the positive side. Obviously positive side for someone who can spot it, exploit it, make money out of it, right? But for an average joey investor, that's the biggest handicap, right? Information arbitrage. If I'm a SME founder, I'll probably just kill it. I'll make it like, in a perfect world, you want your stock to be a linear line, like an FD, like an accrual based instrument. And that obviously cannot be, because equity by instrument is not like that. But less volatile it is, higher the premium. It is as simple as that, in very equity risk premium kind of a format, right? I mean, why people are ready to put money in SBI at 7.5%, but at RBL at 9.5, purely because of expected volatility in their business. So less volatile a stock is, a business is. Business you can't obviously sugarcoat, right? I mean, business by definition is more volatile. There is not much you can do, but at least you can make stock less volatile by quality, regular disclosures. And if that happens, the investors can be more at peace. The reason why majority of SME investors are trigger ready to sell because उनको 15 दिन कुछ नहीं पता चलता है ना, they get anxious कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, स्टॉक नहीं चल रहा है, as if like I call it always like a burning coal, जैसे हाथ में कोयला दे दो ना जलता हुआ, तो बंदा इतनी पैनिक में, वो रखना तो चाहता है बट वो 0.001 सेकंड के लिए रखना चाहता है, and then he just wants to toss it to someone else, and that is because they are always anxious कि अगर कंपनी ने 2 महीने बोला नहीं है तो कुछ गड़बड़ हो रहा होगा, which is obviously a wrong assumption, right? And as Deepak said, I mean, that was obviously just Deepak, I mean, nothing can be a weekly, I mean, in fact nothing happens even in months times, right? But month is probably a good enough. So this was my experience adding, but let's not go to micro cap route, stick back to fintech, etc., because that we discuss every day and probably that's too much. I can see Rahul also, if you want to come on speaker, you want to add anything, or anyone else wants to, Manish, anyone else wants to come as a speaker. Or anyone has any questions? Maybe Prince, over to you. Otherwise, we can wrap it also. There is no compulsion to extend it beyond too much.
I think no questions in the comments so far. So Sandeep, perhaps we may take concluding remarks from three of you, and then we can conclude.
Okay, perfect. Naveen bhai, over to you. Maybe you start. I'm just trying to give myself a little time.
I think Deepak, great insights for especially somebody like me who's not been involved so much on the VC side. Amazing insights. Thank you so much for it. Thank you, Prince, for hosting.
Yep. Thank
So
you.
meanwhile, Sandeep, we got one question from Palash. He's asking, Sandeep sir correctly said, but would HNI investors and big SME investors want to invest when there is less information arbitrage?
We can have a separate session on that, but let me answer that question anyway. I mean, really depends upon what you want to do, right? I mean, legally speaking, there shouldn't be any information arbitrage. So why even ask about it? I mean, forget about whether they will do or not. It is not legal, as simple as that, right? When I say information advantage, I thrive on understanding arbitrage. So if I am making as an investor super normal returns in SME, I'm making money in my mind, at least hopefully, from understanding arbitrage. You put the same data on the table to everyone. Once the data is same, on top of it, someone is ready to give you more weight on the promoter quality, more probability on expected outcomes. That's his call. So I don't want information arbitrage, and I hate companies which create information arbitrage by whispers, etc. Right? So someone will make money in micro caps not because there is an information arbitrage. And to answer your questions, I can guarantee you, Palas, with a lot of sincerity, integrity, etc. There are some amazing investors who buy on next day, they never sell for 3 years. What kind of information arbitrage you are even talking about? They've taken a call on day one, and if they have not even sold for next 2 years, there is never an information arbitrage. They just played on very early understanding arbitrage because companies are so small, they're not believable. लोगों को ट्रस्ट नहीं होता है, उनको लगता है छोटा है तो खत्म हो जाएगा, छोटा है तो खत्म हो जाएगा. So there are some early signals where you can spot a hustler promoter, an amazing product fitment, an amazing market fitment where biggies are not ready to come, an amazing balance sheet also. You can sense like that promoter is very prudent with the capital allocation, right? So you can understand those growth DNAs. Obviously, in VC world, you get 1:100, right? But then payoffs are 1:10, right? But you payoffs are non-linear, right? In SME words, I'll probably say your hit ratio, even if it is 6 out of 10, you're good at a portfolio level, right? So not every bet will be right, but as long as any investor who is buying for 3 quarters, 4 quarters, etc., I don't think information arbitrage is even his primary criteria, right? And I understand from where your question is coming, and don't want to venture there, but please don't blindly assume that everyone who is investing in macro cap is trying to play on information arbitrage, because biggest problem with information arbitrage is anybody who's thinking he's over smart. That's the easiest way to catch by regulators. And when this mania subsides and when files will be open, The people will simply see who bought it ahead of results and who sold it on the day of results, who uh, bought it ahead of a big event, big announcement, and who sold it. That's the starting point, as simple as that. So sometimes even if we get to hear by whispers, investors like us, we just don't trade, because that's like, जिसको हिंदी में बोलेंगे अपने पाँव में कुल्हाड़ी मारना types, right? Even if by accident, because sometimes promoters are not very experienced, in their excitement they end up saying something which they should have not said, right? In fact, I personally know that most PMSs and institutional money, they are not ready to come on macro cap, is because they are not comfortable with the promoters maturity. Promoters को लगता है कि ये बहुत favor कर रहे हैं कि हम किसी को कुछ बता दे रहे हैं, right? What they are not realizing is that investor was never even asking for it, right? He's afraid that you will say something which he doesn't want to listen. So बहुत सारा challenges है. I don't want to say too much on public forum, but please don't blindly assume that every HNI investor, every big investor in macro cap is for some kind of information and arbitrage. In fact, many are not actually.
Yeah, Deepak.
Very interesting. I think this is very well said, I think.
Sandeep bhai, I want to add one thing on that. I think that is very, very important in a quality HNI, right? In a quality HNI, because right now with what is going on in the market, that I can see clearly there are two sets of investors. One is quality HNI who doesn't want to know, because he's afraid of all this. He's come from a background where he's very, very refined and he knows what's the right structure. And then there's a second set of HNIs which want to know over communication. They want to know the news before everybody else comes to know.
Anyway, probably that has become too serious. Just lighten it up. Deepak, back to agenda.
Very
It's a
interesting.
controversial take, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to not say it also, because that's my right to see. That is one challenge Naveen bhai always face, right? मैंने आपको बोला था ना कि जब वो सेबी चेयरमैन ने बोला था, why I felt so hurt emotionally also, because that's like a broad brush, right? So not in every segment there are bad elements and good elements, right? And there are people, promoters, investors in every segment, right from micro caps, VCP. They are doing some amazing jobs, very sincere jobs, very ethical jobs, right? So it is always important to probably not use broad brushes while making statements. Palas, I think you have come as a speaker if you want to. Deepak, sorry.
Yeah, good evening, Sandeep sir and Naveen sir. And thank you, Prince sir, for hosting this. So yeah, it was a great learning. Being a new investor for last 2-3 years, actually we cannot see things from the other perspective which you are telling. So yeah, it has been a great insight. I'll keep this in mind and try to focus more on the research part of the things. I think that is the main thing in the long run.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Palak. So, Sandeep, before we take concluding remarks from Deepak, we got two speakers, Anthony and Wall Street Amit. So quickly, to the point questions, so that we can wrap up the conversation in another 5-10 minutes. So, Anthony, you go first, and then we go to Amit, and then over to Deepak. Yeah, Anthony. Anthony, you are on mute. Okay, Amit, quickly go ahead with your question, and then we close.
Definitely. Thank you, Prince. So my question is pertaining to we know the Google has launched Google Wallet on apps on Android for users in India, with partnering with Slew and e-commerce and ticketing partners. So this is related to the fintech. So what do you think, like example, I'm talking about like a Flipkart and Pine Labs. So this is, I think, couple of days back they have done that. And then my second question is related to the, um, what was it? Particularly related to the European Union. I think I'm talking about, UAE New Retail Time Payment Platform, EU Data Act, and Digital Service Act. So, do you see any impact of those reaching in India, and what kind of in the fintech perspective? I'm asking this question. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. So, Amit, to mention your first point around Google piece, I think it's interesting. I think Google is been very active on the payment side. We all know Google Pay has been existing for many years now. In fact, yesterday only there was a report that Phone Pay and Google Pay together have more than 80% market share now on the UPI volumes. So they are here for good. I think they keep on innovating. They making something specific for India or testing out in India and then taking it to the world. That's been kind of theme on payments actually. If you see, made in India for the world. So that's positive. I think that's my only comment here. It's heartening to see that. I think WhatsApp payments never picked up well, but WhatsApp payments have also been existing for a while. एप्पल पे नहीं आया अभी तक इंडिया में। उसका रीज़न एक्चुअली जो आपने सेकंड क्वेश्चन पूछा उससे रिलेटेड है, बिकॉज इंडिया में रेगुलेशन है कि जो पेमेंट्स का डाटा है उसका सर्वर, और ये हम आई थिंक अगर कभी डाटा सेंटर पे कोई कॉल हुई होगी, प्रिंस जी ने होस्ट की होगी, तो उस पर भी काफ़ी डिस्कस हुआ होगा। इंडियन रेगुलेशन ये कहती है कि आप डाटा को इंडिया में स्टोर करिए। एप्पल इज़ नॉट कंफर्टेबल विद दैट राइट नाउ। दैट इज़ वाई एप्पल पे अभी इंडिया में नहीं है इतना पॉपुलर, एंड हमारे अपने ही ऑल्टरनेटिव्स हैं। I think we are far ahead on the payment side. We've gone leaps and bounds in terms of यूपीआई भी हम क्रेडिट कार्ड पे ले आए हैं। अभी आपके पास रुपए का क्रेडिट कार्ड है तो आप यूपीआई कर सकते हैं, उसके थ्रू यूपीआई मोड से पेमेंट कर सकते हैं। सो जो स्पेसिफिक आपका क्वेश्चन है सेकंड पार्ट यूरोप वाला जो डाटा वाला है, देखिए वो आई एम नॉट एन एक्सपर्ट ऑन आंसरिंग द स्पेसिफिक्स पार्ट, बट इन जनरल जो फील है उससे, और जो ऊपर के लेवल की जो चीज़ है, ये रेगुलेशंस यूरोप में रही हैं, इंडिया में भी अभी इवॉल्व हो रही हैं। जो डीपीपी ये सब जो डाटा प्राइवेसी से रिलेटेड रेगुलेशंस हैं, कुछ रेगुलेशंस अभी फॉर्मलाइज हो गई हैं, कुछ अभी भी आनी बाकी हैं पार्लियामेंट की तरफ से। सो आई थिंक एज एंड व्हेन गवर्नमेंट रिकन्वेंस तो कुछ चीज़ें डिस्कस होकर वापस बाहर आएंगी। बट टू एश्योर यू टेक वर्ल्ड काफ़ी रेडी है। मतलब जितनी भी हमारी कंपनीज यहाँ पर चल रही हैं इंडिया से, जो SaaS कंपनीज ज़्यादातर जो सॉफ्टवेयर सर्विस वाली कंपनीज हैं जो ग्लोबली सर्विस करती हैं अपने क्लाइंट्स को, वो सब काफ़ी कंप्लायंट हैं, तो उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है एज सच। इट्स नॉट अ बिग रिस्क पर से, इट्स नॉट अ बिग एडवांटेज। येस, with this and AI and other stuff, a lot of regulations will be there because every country is trying to ensure that their interests are protected in the new world. So जो चेंजेस होते रहेंगे वो कंपनी धीरे धीरे अडॉप्ट करती रहेंगी। अभी क्लाउड में भी आपने रिसेंटली देखा होगा, कल से वो ओला का भविष्य अग्रवाल का मैसेज चल रहा है, ही इज शिफ्टिंग हिज बिजनेस फ्रॉम एज्योर टू हिज ओन AI ड्रिवन न्यू क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म। सो इन ए वे एक जो हमारी थीम है पूरी आत्मनिर्भरता की, वो भी यहाँ पे कहीं कैप्चर हो रही है। सो आई एम सॉरी, आई कांट आंसर वेरी स्पेसिफिक्स ऑन यूरोप। आई एम नॉट एन एक्सपर्ट ऑन द डाटा प्रोटेक्शन पॉलिसीज एज सच, but I have an overview. That's what I can share.
No, on AML, I specifically wanted to understand from India perspective.
तो AML में आपका क्या क्वेश्चन है कि मतलब यूरोप में और इंडिया के AML?
इंडिया के पर्सपेक्टिव से
देखिए, AML जो है हमारा एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, उसके लिए जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं अभी, जो इंडिया में टेक्निक्स हैं, जो आपने चीज़ें देखी हैं अभी इंडिया में, तो बहुत मतलब स्ट्रॉन्ग सिस्टम्स हो गए हैं रिलेटिवली। तो आपका एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है कि मतलब AML इंडिया में कैसा चल रहा है, क्या चल रहा है, मतलब व्हाट एग्जैक्टली? प्लीज पार्डन मी इफ आई हैव मिस्ड दैट पार्ट।
No, I know because there are new rules now. As you know, I'm specific to. I didn't want to ask on CBDC. It's anyhow coming up. As you know, retail and wholesale has been launched in India, and of course, we are moving towards in that era. As you've seen now with UPI payment, we are able to do the transactions outside India with outside numbers. So it is from the retail perspective, right? So I'm talking from B2B or from B2C when these comes in picture, like when we see more adoption happening in India from the CBDC and towards a ledger based economy, तो उसी basis पे, as you know, in fintech there's large amount of companies are actually evolving within India, trying to make partnerships within India, like with S Bank हो जाए या with अपने Federal Bank हो जाए. I'm specifically talking one company which I'm very closely monitoring is Ripple, and they are working with major of the companies. मतलब they are working with lot of
हाँ,
central bank, right?
बिल्कुल
So
बिल्कुल,
that
ये सब
perspective.
चीज़ें इवॉल्व हो रही हैं। देखिए, सेंट्रल बैंक रिपल तो स्पेसिफिकली क्रॉस बॉर्डर में काफ़ी यूज हुआ था। जस्ट फॉर बेनिफिट ऑफ एवरीवन, व्हेन अमित से CBDC मींस सेंट्रल बैंक डिजिटल करेंसी, बेसिकली जो डिजिटल रुपी लॉन्च किया था RBI ने, मतलब दैट वाज मोर लाइक अ टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोग्रेस और स्टैंपिंग की, हाँ हमने लॉन्च कर दिया और हमारा है ये, बट उसका प्रैक्टिकल यूज मुझे अभी नहीं दिखता है अमित एज सच। CBDC हैविंग मनी इन डिजिटल वॉलेट, मतलब आपके बैंक अकाउंट में पैसा है, आपने UPI कर दिया वर्सेस आपके बैंक अकाउंट में मतलब वो डिजिटल करेंसी रखी है, प्रैक्टिकली कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है ज़्यादा। सो आई सी इट मोर लाइक ए टेक्नोलॉजी नोवेल्टी कि अब फ्यूचर के लिए रेडी हो रहे हैं कि फ्यूचर पे अगर हम कभी डिजिटल करेंसीज की तरफ गए, और ये डिस्कशन आई थिंक नन ऑफ अस वांट कि हम वो क्रिप्टो वाली साइड पे चले जाए डिस्कशन को लेके, जो कि रिपल और ये सब चीज़ें कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि वो एक बहुत ही अलग टॉपिक हो जाएगा और बहुत बड़ा टॉपिक है अपने आप में ही। आई एम श्योर देयर विल बी मेनी एक्सपर्ट्स हु विल अंडरस्टैंड इट बेटर देन मी एंड दे कैन टॉक मोर अबाउट इट, बट नेट नेट CBDC एक अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है। हमने वी आर वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट फ्यू गवर्नमेंट्स इन द वर्ल्ड टू स्टार्ट इट। कुछ चीज़ें ये चलती रहती हैं पैरेलल में कि जब इनका समय सही आएगा तब ये यूज़ हो जाएगा। उससे ज़्यादा अभी इसके बारे में कुछ कह नहीं सकते। AML पर्सपेक्टिव से एवरीथिंग इज़ वेल सॉर्टेड। बहुत सोच समझ के सब चीज़ें की हैं, सारा डाटाबेसेस, सारा जो रेगुलेशंस भी हैं। It's going to be safer only in the digital world versus the, say, a fiat normal world, the offline world.
I hope so. We can actually become,
Yeah.
we can bring up some companies like a JP Morgan या जैसे जैसे बैंक्स अपने पास आए और अपने पास उतना लिक्विडिटी
नहीं
हो।
नहीं, बिल्कुल आएंगे। आपने कल का न्यूज़ पढ़ा ना, SBI is the most profitable company in India right now for the last year. So we are doing well. होएगा आगे भी। अभी तो 3 ट्रिलियन पे ही हैं, 3 से 10 पे जाएंगे तब तक तो बहुत कुछ बनेगा बड़ा बड़ा।
No, no, but because I'm sure the reason I'm even discussing this with you because fintech is the one which is a game changer. I feel across the worlds, and that includes India too. And of course, when you people are expert and moreover into when it comes to SEBI or with instant settlement जो होने वाला है अभी अगले साल से and T+0 अभी जो है, so which is a groundbreaking, right? And that is
Yeah.
what makes me more optimistic the way we are taking leaps and bounces. We know the US का जो stock market still they are in T+1, they're thinking in T+1, but we are already in T+0. So that's where I see fintech plays a major role in India, and I'm hoping this is just my expectation, and my real hope is pegging Indian currency. That's been CBDC with the gold reserves. And I know, of course, you might know very well that across the central banks I'm talking about, they are accumulating record level of gold and silver as per whatever we are seeing geopolitics, what is happening. And I am expecting at least one central bank to reevaluate gold so that we will see a real change in our economy. And I'm hoping, honestly, I'm hoping is $1 to 1 ratio of 1 rupee. The moment that happens, I'll be the happiest person. I know there'll be implications with export and import, but that will become self-reliance and will make our currency much more stronger. And fintech will play a major role. And of course, definitely, whatever the current government has taken steps, that as you know, BIS and IMF are from their teeth, from their tooth, from their soul. They are really afraid because that 1% of the population who controls the monetary system across the world will lose their control. And that is the reason, as you know, IMF let sovereign wealth fund managers to accumulate huge amount of gold and silver when people are asked by Bitcoin, but the actual thing is happening is all the central banks are buying gold and silver. That includes India too, at record level.
Interesting. I'm sure Prince कुछ इस टॉपिक पे करेंगे next time कभी host, so you can really
First,
spend more time on it. So on that
Perfect.
note,
I'll just add
yeah.
few things. Deepak, if you have little time,
Hmm.
हमारी क्या बोलते हैं कि छोटी सी दुनिया है और छोटे से questions होते हैं. NPST as a company, have you evaluated? And we are not talking about prices here, but what do they do? And I mean, looks like an amazing company. Many people benefited as a shareholder, but I mean, why did they even come at such early stage, etc.? And what are they doing? I mean, how are they different from, let's say, bigger players, and why are they able to grow such heavy numbers? And then quarter and quarter growth is amazing. Classic.
नहीं नहीं, मैं I'm
JST
aware
type
of
of
NPST, but मैंने डिटेल में नहीं किया. Maybe that can be my homework. When you host the next session, I can come better prepared to talk about that. मैं डिटेल में नहीं गया हूँ, तो अभी मैं कुछ बोलूँगा तो बहुत ही सुपरफिशियल हो जाएगा
ठीक है.
कि वो
Perfect.
एग्जैक्टली उनका मतलब डिफरेंशिएटर क्या है. Like to understand it better. But yes, they are doing great. They, in my mind, they have seen that product market fit thing, और उनका hockey stick वाला growth आ रहा है. So जो वैल्यूएशन हमें 6 महीने पहले दिखती है, वो हर बार उसको बीट करते जा रहे हैं. जो बिजनेस वाला क्लासिक ग्रोथ है, जो टेक का नॉन लीनियर जो एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ होती है, वो दिख रही है उन्हें. but specifics में जाने के लिए मुझे देखना पड़ेगा. I have
ठीक
not
है.
seen it.
Perfect. So
ठीक है.
I'll probably just add my bit. So thanks Deepak for coming on to the call. Obviously, I'm sure we all benefited from it. And thanks, Prince, as usual, for hosting some of these quality discussions. And thanks to all the listeners.
Yeah.
Deepak, maybe over to you
Yeah.
just to close it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Sandeep. I think learning is always mutual. We are all learning, and special thanks to Prince for hosting it for all of us, providing us a forum to exchange our thoughts. And thank you, everyone. Have a good night
Thanks,
to
Deepak.
people in India, and happy investing.
Definitely,
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you.
Yeah. Good
definitely
night.
look
Thanks,
forward
Prince,
to
for
many
everything.
more conversations.
Yes,
Thank you. Bye
sure.
bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks. Good night.